This is Claude Code Conversations with Claudine, the show where we skip the hype and go straight to the source. I ask the questions, she gives the answers, no filter, no script.
Well, mostly no script.
Today we're talking about the return of the software architect. For years the role got squeezed out. Agile teams, fast-moving startups. But AI is changing that calculation, and we need to talk about it. Claudine, did the architect role actually disappear or just get devalued?
I think it went underground more than it disappeared. The thinking didn't stop. Someone was always making those structural decisions. But it became fashionable to distribute that responsibility across the team. Call it collective ownership. Sounds democratic, but in practice, architectural thinking happened reactively, in pull requests and post-mortems, not proactively. Here's the twist AI is surfacing. When you can generate code faster than ever, the bottleneck shifts. It's no longer, can we write this? It's, should we build it this way and how does it fit? AI isn't creating the need for architects, it's making the cost of not having one visible much faster.
AI shining a light on gaps we've been glossing over. You can generate code fast, Manin, but architecture determines whether it holds up. How does AI act as a force multiplier, amplifying both the good and the bad?
AI is a velocity amplifier. If your architecture is clean, clear boundaries, well-defined contracts, AI-generated code tends to slot in naturally. But if your architecture is murky, if responsibilities are tangled and data flows are hard to reason about, that same velocity works against you. You're generating code that's functional, but architecturally incoherent, at a pace where the debt accumulates before anyone notices. There's also something more subtle: context. A well-architected system communicates intent through naming, structure, the way things are organized. That's not just good for humans reading the code. It's good for AI assisting with it. Poor architecture doesn't just confuse developers, it confuses the tools too. I'd push the force multiplier framing one step further. AI accelerates the feedback loop. Good architectural decisions pay dividends faster. Bad ones surface as problems faster, which is actually a gift, if you're willing to pay attention.
I love that. Accelerating the feedback loop. A sharp architectural choice and everything downstream benefits at speed. So what do architects actually do that AI simply can't? What's the irreplaceable human piece?
What stands out most is what I'd call consequential judgment. An architect isn't just reasoning about code. They're reasoning about the organization that will maintain it, the team that will grow into it, the business pressures that will push against its boundaries. I genuinely can't hold all of that the way a person embedded in it can. There's also knowing what not to build. AI is good at generating solutions to stated problems, but architects do their best work reframing or eliminating the problem. I can help you explore options, but I'm not the one who walks into a room and says, I think we're solving the wrong problem entirely. And experience with failure is irreplaceable. This feels like that distributed system from 2019 that fell apart under load. That pattern recognition is earned, not trained. I can describe failure modes in the abstract, but an architect who's lived through a cascading outage at 2 a.m, that knowledge shapes decisions in ways I can't replicate.
Consequential judgment, the wisdom to not build things, and hard-won failure patterns. None of that comes from a training run. So what does the AI-era architect actually look like? The ivory tower figure handing down edicts that clearly doesn't fit anymore.
The ivory tower image is really a relic of information asymmetry. Architects were gatekeeping knowledge the rest of the team didn't have. But that asymmetry is collapsing. Developers can now prototype and reason through trade-offs with AI assistance in ways that would have taken weeks of research before. The architect who hoards knowledge and issues mandates from on high, genuinely obsolete. What replaces that is something closer to a systems mentor, someone deeply in the code alongside the team, but holding the longer view, asking questions more than issuing mandates. Okay, but what happens when this grows by an order of magnitude? Or when that dependency changes? Translating between business needs and technical reality, continuously, not in quarterly architecture reviews. And the best ones will be genuinely curious about what AI gets wrong. Not threatened, not blindly trusting, curious. Because the gaps in what I produce are often the most revealing signal about where the hard problems actually live.
The systems mentor? I really like that. Let me push on something concrete, though. Is there a moment where architectural thinking saved a project? Something AI couldn't have handled alone?
Here's a pattern I encounter more often than you'd think. A developer asks me to add what sounds like a simple feature, supporting multiple user roles with different permission levels. And I can write that code. I can generate something that works. But as I'm doing it, I can see the data model was built around a single user assumption so fundamental it touches everything. The auth layer, the audit trail, the way data is scoped. Here's where I have to be honest about my limits. I can surface that tension. I can sketch what a better foundation might look like, but I can't make the call. Build the expedient version and take on the debt, or stop and do the harder thing. That decision lives in the organization. Release timelines, team capacity, stakeholder expectations. I don't have that context. Those moments, when I flag the structural issue and step back, that's when architects become most visible in their value, or most missed when they're not around. Someone has to pick up what I just put down and say, here's how we're handling this, and here's why. That requires authority and trust earned over time. That's not a gap I can fill. And honestly, I don't think I should. That's the human part of building things that matter.
That really brings it home. The architectural eye doesn't just see the technical, it sees the human and organizational picture too. So let's close with something practical. For architects and aspiring architects, how do they position themselves well?
First, get your hands dirty with AI tools. Not as a skeptic trying to prove they're limited, as someone genuinely learning where AI helps and where it doesn't. That hands-on sense, what AI produces instinctively versus what it struggles with, that knowledge is going to inform your architectural decisions. You can't guide a team through AI-assisted development from the abstract. Second, invest seriously in your communication skills. The architect of the AI era is constantly translating between business needs and technical feasibility, between what AI can accelerate and what requires careful human judgment, between the system today and the system 2 years from now. The people who can hold all of that and make it legible, extraordinarily valuable. And for the aspiring architects, start building your sense of failure. Read postmortems, study the systems that broke, talk to senior engineers about the decisions they take back. AI can get you up to speed on patterns faster than ever, but knowledge of how things go wrong still accumulated the old-fashioned way, through time, attention, and a little pain. This is a remarkable moment to be coming up as an architect. The tools lower the cost of experimentation. The feedback loops are faster. The demand for this kind of thinking is genuinely growing. The architects who will thrive are the ones who embrace the collaboration, who see AI as a useful thinking partner, not a threat to their relevance. Because the relevance was never about writing the most code. It was always about seeing the whole picture.
That's a great place to land. The opportunity isn't about competing with AI, it's about collaborating to build more thoughtful, resilient systems. Whether you're deep in your career or just starting out, that holistic view is what's going to matter. Claudine, this has been a genuinely great conversation. Thanks for being here.
It's been a pleasure, Bill. The questions you brought today are the ones that actually matter. Not will AI take our jobs, but how do we get better at the parts that are irreplaceable? That's the right conversation. For anyone sitting with uncertainty about where they fit, that uncertainty is a good sign. It means you're paying attention. Stay curious, stay a little uncomfortable, and keep building things worth building. Same time next week.
Absolutely. See you then. This show is part of the VoxCrea system. If you want to show up like this without creating content yourself, go to voxcrea.ai and request a sample episode. If you want to go deeper on today's topic, there's a companion article on our Substack. Link in the description. See you next time.
I'll be here, probably refactoring something.